Hello everybody and welcome to Tiger Tales, a place you'll find stories and fanfiction written and read to you by your host, me, Tai Tiger. Today we're diving back into the Tiger Tales Marvel and DC universe, where I've combined and collaborated and moulded Marvel and DC into one big fictional universe with old and new superheroes popping up in the works. There is a playlist on the channel where you can listen to all the chapters that are involved in this universe in continuity order, labelled the TMDFU, which of course stands for the Tiger Tales Marvel and DC Universe. Today we're diving back in with the Red Lantern. And Red Lantern Jordan is on a quest that not only gives her the chance to wreak revenge on the people that did her wrong, but also bring back the Red Lanterns. By doing this, by wreaking revenge, she is fueling the Red Lantern core and bringing Atrocitus to full strength. So let's dive back in with Red Lantern, Crimson Rage, Chapter 4, Love That Burns. Jordan sat there in her apartment, twiddling her thumbs. Her list of names sat on the table in front of her. Samuel's name had been scribbled out. She sat there, her knees shaking, bouncing off the floor. She ran her fingers over her ring, and then suddenly her phone started ringing. She checked it, and it was Allison.
Oh, fuck. Yeah.
Jordan blurted. She had completely forgotten about Allison, as over the last few days her quest for vengeance had completely taken over her life. She looked at the ringing phone, she rolled her eyes, and remembered that Allison had cheated on her, and then answered it.
What do you want?
Jordan answered. Hey, Jordan, can we talk? Allison asked.
And why would I want to talk to you?
Jordan replied. Please, Jordan, I owe you an explanation, Allison pleaded.
Fine. Where and when?
Jordan snapped. How about the Duchess Cafe in town? Allison suggested.
Sure thing.
Jordan replied. Then she hung up the phone, she grabbed her pen and wrote Allison's name on the list. Then she got up and changed her clothes. She then walked back into the living room, looked around, and then looked at her Red Lantern ring.
Saves money on fuel.
Jordan mocked, then aimed the ring and opened a blood portal. She walked through it and entered an alleyway opposing the Duchess Cafe. She walked across the road and entered the cafe. She found Allison tucked away in the corner. She walked up and sat across from her. Hey, thanks for coming. You were quick, Allison chirped. She then gave her a weak grin. She was a young woman of a Muslim descent with long black hair, smooth skin, and she also had green eyes, and wore a white denim pair of jeans with a black top covered in green flowers and leaves.
I lost my job, so kinda got time now,
Jordan said sarcastically. Oh, sorry, I didn't know, Allison said sincerely.
The boss was a bastard anyway,
Jordan replied with a shrug. A waitress walked over, leaned down, placing 2 cups in front of her. Thanks, Allison said as the waitress walked away. Jordan looked at the 2 cups presented to them. I got you a black coffee. You're regular. Allison smiled.
Best thing you could do, I suppose,
Jordan blurted. I am sorry, you know, Allison sighed.
Bit too late for that, you know.
Jordan snapped. Yeah, I guess, Allison sighed again.
Why do you want to talk?
Jordan asked sharply. I wanted to explain what happened, Allison told her.
Don't need the details, thanks,
Jordan replied, shaking her head, holding up her hand in disgust with a horrible look on her face. No, I didn't want to do it, okay? I owed him money, Allison said shamefully.
And you paid him by opening your legs?
Jordan retorted. Yes, he ropes and girls in, and before you know it, you have double the debt, and then he gives you a way out, Allison explained. Her face was scarlet red.
So you're not the only one?
Jordan asked. Oh no, Allison muttered. She leaned over to grab some sugar. She picked up her cup, then her sleeve dropped down, her arm revealing a huge black bruise in the shape of a handprint amongst her forearm.
He did that to you?
Jordan snapped, pointing at the bruise. Allison quickly covered up her arm and looked away from Jordan. He can be quite convincing, Allison muttered under her breath. Jordan sat there, rather confused and angry. She was in fact angry with Allison, of course, but she was now angry at this man for taking advantage of young women. Jordan knew how to handle this creep. Allison sat there with tears in her eyes. Then Jordan sighed. She knew Allison did her wrong, but she still felt something for Allison. Something that might be close to what love would feel like. Jordan told Allison to explain the whole thing from the beginning to the end, so she did. It turned out that this guy was a student in the college that Allison goes by the name Dodger. He was doing mechanics and ran a side business where he sold different types of drugs, fake IDs, and tampered final exam papers for a nice big fee. But it was a pyramid scheme. He made it so no one could ever pay him back. He added a payment fee, and each time they failed to pay him, they gave him an out, slept with him, or did something for his camera. Then he blackmailed them with the evidence for even more money, or he would go to their parents for the money. I knew a girl who actually got ridiculously drunk and drove herself off a bridge because she couldn't handle the stress of Dodger, Allison told Jordan.
Where is he now, then?
Jordan asked her, taking a mouthful of her coffee. He lives close to the college. His car's there, so he's always going to be where his car is. Most probably be working on it now, actually, until a couple hours into early morning, Allison muttered.
Fun.
Jordan said sarcastically. Jordan looked at her watch, then looked at the tired, beaten, and worn out Allison. Jordan knew she could do something about this.
I have to go now, but I'll call you later tonight, okay?
Jordan lied to her. Oh, yeah, sure. Thanks for hearing me out, I guess, Allison said quietly.
Hey, it's okay. I get it now.
Jordan smiled, then she got up and walked away. She left the Duchess Cafe and walked back into the alleyway, opened a blood portal and walked through it and entered her apartment. She waited for a couple hours to make sure that things didn't look suspicious. The sun had slowly drifted down through the sky and evening fell upon Los Angeles. The night sky slowly filled the air with a brisk chill. Jordan walked out of the blood portal, entering the college ground. She looked around to make sure that no one was around, and then held out her ring.
With blood and rage of crimson red, we fill men's souls with darkest dread, and twist your minds to pain and hate. We'll burn you all, that is your fate!
Jordan called out, and then suddenly her Red Lantern suit surged around her. Her mask appeared on her face. She then took flight, and from the height too high for any man to reach, she found the mechanic's garage. She then flew down and landed in front of it. She found Dodger stood there under a car that had been suspended in the air. He was wiping his oil-covered hands in a rag whilst looking up and investigating the car.
Yo, Sparkles!
Red Lantern barked. Dodger looked down and saw the Red Lantern stood there. He dropped the rag and turned around and bolted the other direction. The Red Lantern aimed her ring, and a grapple hook construct burst forth from the ring and flew it across the room and grappled Dodger by the back. He was yanked off his feet and landed on the ground, his body slamming hard. The Red Lantern pulled the construct wire, and Dodger slid across the floor through the garage, and he slammed into several things as he did. He stopped right by her feet. The Red Lantern walked around him, Dodger covering his face with his arms in fear.
You'll no longer get to terrorize women for your pleasure.
Red Lantern barked. I won't, I promise, Dodger called out.
That wasn't a threat.
Red Lantern grinned. She then aimed her ring and made Dodger start floating a few inches off the ground. She then held her hands out either side of her and made two bus constructs opposing each other, Dodger in the middle of the buses. She then swung her hands forward, clapping her hands together. Both buses drove forward and crashed into one another, damaging Dodger in the process, his body crushed by the pure weight of two buses. Like a grape, his body burst. Blood exploded from every angle. The buses disappeared, leaving a pile of blood and squashed body parts. The Red Lantern grinned. She then flew off and enjoyed a moment of fresh air as she floated through the clouds. She then headed home. She flew right through the window. As she landed, her suit and mask diminished. Jordan stood there proud of the night's work. Then her phone vibrated. She checked the time to see that it had barely been a couple hours and the night was still young. It was a text from Allison that appeared on her screen. Thanks for hearing me out today. It was nice to see you again, the text read. Jordan sat there for a good couple minutes staring at her phone, arguing with herself. Jordan then shrugged and walked out of her apartment and headed for Alison's place. She walked there as it didn't take her long and she didn't want to drain the lantern ring completely. She walked up to Alison's door and knocked on it twice. Then it swung open. Alison looked worried yet relieved.
What's wrong?
Jordan asked. The police just called. Dodger was found dead, Alison muttered.
That's a good thing, though, right?
Jordan asked with a slight grin. What did you do? Alison asked bluntly.
What does that mean?
Jordan snapped. Alison grabbed Jordan's hand and pointed at the red lantern ring. I wasn't born yesterday, Jordan, Alison snapped back.
Okay, yes, I sorted. It won't be a problem anymore,
Jordan told her. Alison slumped onto her sofa. Jordan followed her and closed the door behind her. She then sat next to Alison.
Are you mad at me?
Jordan asked her. No, yeah, I don't know. I'm grateful. And you did always look kind of sexy in red. Alison grinned. Then Alison leaned in and kissed Jordan. Jordan pulled away.
Is this wise?
Jordan questioned. Enough talking, Alison muttered, then jumped on top of her. She wrapped her legs around Jordan's waist and kissed Jordan again. Jordan returned the kiss. Their tongues went into her wall. Her hands went up Alison's top, running her nails up her back. Then Jordan picked up Alison, and her legs still wrapped around her waist. Alison wrapped her arms around Jordan's neck tightly. As their lips still locked, they went into the bedroom, and Jordan dropped Alison onto the bed.
Hey, I know you've been enjoying what you're listening to. Please insert name of show here. And if you've been enjoying that, come on over to the Zero to Hero podcast, where Billy and myself, the Balkan School of Podcasting, go through and examine all kinds of things like 90s nostalgia, the moon landings, historical plots, assassination attempts, and, weirdly enough, genetics. Come on over to the Zero to Hero podcast if you want to talk about weird things.
A few hours later, Jordan awoke to Alison kissing her neck.
You want to go round 3? Seriously?
Jordan asked with a grin. I could. Yeah, problem? Alison said between kisses. Jordan rolled over to face Alison, then started to kiss her again. She grabbed Alison by the wrist and pinned her to the bed. Oh, I see how it is, Alison chuckled. Then Jordan grinned back. Her ring started glowing. She opened her mouth and spewed a stream of boiling hot blood all over Alison's face. Alison started to scream out in pain till her voice became nothing but gargles. Her voice box melted. Jordan spewed more blood on the rest of her body, her beautiful smooth skin now sizzling and filling the room with the smell of cooked flesh. Jordan jumped off the bed and got dressed as the remains melted away. She pulled out her list and a pencil from her back pocket, walked over to the table, placed a paper onto the table and scribbled out Alison's name. She looked back at the cooking, melting, now black as charcoal remains of her lover. Then she left the apartment. And there you have it, guys. We have chapter 4 of Red Lantern, Crimson Rage. I hope you guys are enjoying this story. I just want to thank Jordan for voicing Jordan. Jordan is a phenomenal voice actress, and I am absolutely lucky that I found her, and everyone should fill my comments saying how well she's done as the Red Lantern. So don't forget to go check out the rest of the TDMFU. I do just want to quickly shout out the Three Ranger Bros Studios, which is myself, Cosplay Dude 637, and Mark the Red Cornish Ranger. Us three are the Three Ranger Bros, who inevitably are building several Power Ranger universes for our stories. You can listen to Mark the Red Cornish Ranger's Power Ranger story on his podcast called Nerd Comics, where he also adapts comic books into audio dramas, and I'm a voice actor in several of them. Then Cosplay Dude has Power Ranger Universe 19, where he has several original Power Rangers series stories, and he's also adapting 2 Kamen Rider shows. I also have a story on his podcast, which is shared with Tiger Tales. We are in association with Zero to Hero, the Balkan Scholar Podcasting. Billy and Jim come to us every week with an episode of their podcast where they talk about many different fandoms, not just Power Rangers, and they interview people as well. All 3 Ranger Bros at one time or another have been on there, so maybe we should go check them out. I do just want to quickly again thank Jordan for voicing. Well, Jordan is loosely based off actual Jordan. Go check out the rest of the TMDFU. Go check out the rest of the channel. Subscribe to the channel so we can get to 100 subscribers within the year. With that being said, I shall see you guys soon.